Welcome to the channel and welcome to the show. First, I have a little confession to make. I'm a bit nervous, isn't the right word, but I'm a bit distracted because my spirit is already in another spot than you see me standing here today. By the time you will see this and this video will be online, I will not be in Holland. Not at all. I will not even be in the Netherlands. I'll be in Germany, the extern steine. If you don't know what that is, that's a very old, very sacred pagan site in the center of the Black Forest in Germany. Maybe you can see it as somewhat of a belly button because it's kind of like the center of Europe. I will be there in order to get initiated in the Sitan tradition together with 3 other people. We have 4 people. 2 people come from the white line, 2 people come from the red line. I'm from the red line. The red line does the banishment ceremonies. Get rid of things that you can't get rid of your own. And we do the house ceremonies to cleanse your spaces that you live in. The colors, the white line, they do the taufers. They do the magic that enhances your life path. And they clear things from your life path during special ceremonies. So you have the white line and you have the red line, and both have 2. And you also have 2 male and 2 female, so everything is balanced. Which is almost kind of odd because this is part of cider magic and it's usually a lot of women. When Naomi Merkrida, my cider teacher, started the courses, it was mostly, and it still is, mostly females, with sometimes a male, but all these people have kind of like distilled to like 4 people, myself included. So I'm a bit nervous, isn't the right word, but I feel that there's something changing in me already and something is going to happen, because initiation, it usually involves an ordeal. Without ordeal, no initiation. We all know that famous story when Odin hung from the Yggdrasil world tree for 9 days and 9 nights without food or drink, wounded by his own spear, until in darkness he screamed and he grasped the runes. Now, I'm not telling you this story because I compare myself to Odin. I'm just giving you an idea of what an initiation could be. An initiation usually is an ordeal. There's something difficult, and in that difficulty we find something. And at the moment I feel like my spirit is already halfway in that place, in the Externstein. I feel like there are ancestors beside me, hundreds of them, and not the usual suspects. I feel like there are 100 ancestors, all with their own staff and with their own power, and they are just pushing the line, waiting to get in until they get initiated. So I wanted to get that out of the way. I also wanted to record it so that everybody can notice. That the initiations have begun again. And that the new pagan dawn is inevitable. Enough about that. So if you see me just being slightly like, where is he with his head? My head is at the Externstein. But I wanted to discuss something fun today. I'm going to tell you 2 things. The first thing is how you can change the past, which I think can be very helpful, because lots of people just think time just as a straight line, this and that, like you go from there. And you have also some very spiritual people, the new agey people, that's what I call them, and they tell you that time is an illusion because they read that somewhere and they believe that, they feel that to be true, which I always thought was kind of weird, because if time is an illusion, time is not really there, what is there between cause and effect? If somebody punches me in my eye and it takes a day for it to get blue, what's that? And they go, it's an illusion. And I go like, well, it's a pretty persistent illusion. Time is cyclical, and if you're one of those spiritual people who believe that time is only an illusion, that means that everything must be happening at the same time. And if everything's happening at the same time, it's these cycles which you can just switch between. So I'm going to teach you how to change the past, and I'm going to use an example in my own life. I'm going to tell you the story of these two rings. I always have two rings. Don't know if the camera will focus on these, but I have one ring which is the Otala rune, and I have one ring that is the Anzus rune. I hope you can see that. In part because these are two runes that are very important to me. A lot of my life has to do with the Anzus rune and the Otala rune. That's basically a lot of my energy goes into connecting with that and building that. Now, how did I change my past? And I'll get to how the rings fit into that story shortly. Stick with me, we're going somewhere with this. When I was growing up, I didn't feel at home in Holland. I looked up at the sky, and by the way, I grew up in a big city in Den Haag. So I didn't really see the stars because of all the light pollution. But whenever I was on a holiday with my parents, let's say to France, and I went to the countryside, I could see the stars. And I saw the stars move, and it felt like everything was exactly where it needed to be. It felt like there was a cosmic plan. It felt like it was harmony. It felt that there was a law that was being applied there in the night sky that I did not see applied in my daily life. I saw people running around from left to right, like with chickens with no heads. And this was no small thing for me. It wasn't like, I think kind of society missing something a bit. No, it wasn't like that at all. It was like, for me, it was the most fundamental thing to be a part of this universe, and I did not see any connection. So I started looking, Christianity, Islam, reading up about other cultures, and I came to the conclusion that what I was looking for wasn't to be found in the place that I was born. So I started traveling, and I spent half a year with the First Nations people in west of Canada, British Columbia, which was really nice. I really liked the Native Americans, did a lot of Native American spread lodges, and I still do sometimes. It's really good. It's a good practice, especially if you keep it like real traditional, but that's my personal preference. But I ended up in Indonesia because there are a lot of Hindus there in Bali, and I thought, well, this is what I was looking for, polytheism and more of a balance. So I really felt connected. So I tried staying there for a while, but that wasn't meant to be. I got my ass kicked emotionally, spiritually, and financially, and I was sent back to Holland with only the clothes on my back. So after a while, it started to dawn on me, like maybe all the things I was looking for were actually inside of me. I know it's cliche, it sounds like a cheesy Taylor Swift pop song, but it's not. Everything you want is inside of you. So I was like, I really connected with the runes, which I had with me for many decades. But, well, it wasn't many decades then, it's many decades now. But I only saw them as an oracle, but I looked at these and I was like, maybe these things aren't just an oracle like a tarot. Maybe these things are actually alive, and they're alive inside of me. And maybe if I can cultivate what's alive inside of me, I can be the person that I needed when I was younger. That was the whole goal. Because I'd figured there'd be more young people. So I started doing ceremonies in the backyard and inviting people over just on Instagram, like height of summer, doing a ceremony, who wants to come? So I've been doing that for a couple of years now. And in that group there was one girl. She was like young, and she reminded me of me when I was young. We have a lot in common. Very introverted, very wise, deep thinker, like I always was. And after like a year or two, she made these rings for me. It was a gift because she was studying to be a goldsmith. She's since now graduated. And she said, well, because the ceremonies you were doing here in the backyard, I kind of felt more at home in Holland, and I kind of could plant my feet more on solid ground. So I want to thank you for that. And she gave me the rings. But her saying that was amazing, because at that moment I was able to time travel. I was able to go back into time, look at myself and heal myself. And because I was able to give her that tiny little part that I so desperately needed when I was growing up, because I felt there was nobody who understood me and nobody who had any concept of what I was longing for, of what I was trying to bring into this life. I was just this weird kid. But I saw her and I understood her, and I was able to do something for a tiny part to make her feel a little bit more in home in Holland. And because I was able to give her that, I was able to give myself that. We think that you can't change the past, but you can. And you actually see it most days when you turn on the TV or when you watch a movie. Let me explain. When you watch a movie, sometimes it's a terrible movie. No, it's a good movie, but there are terrible things going on inside of the movie, meaning that people die, people lose their legs, go through traumatic experience after traumatic experience. And everything goes from bad to worse and from worse to even worse to that. And when that's done, at the end, things come together. In the end, it's all right. And then it suddenly seems like in that movie that all that trauma and all that hardship was never really there. And I used to notice that, and I used to think this is not realistic at all. All this trauma, and it just doesn't matter anymore suddenly. But I was wrong, because that's exactly how life works. If you heal the now, the past suddenly doesn't matter anymore. It affects the past by consequence. There is no past. So maybe the New Agers are right after all. Because there is no past, there is only now. And if you can change the now, and if you can heal the now, the past will fall off you like water will fall off a freshly greased duck's back. So that's my wish for you. And maybe, because this is the last video that I will do before my initiation, maybe this is prophetic, like that's what's going to happen to me. Maybe the past will fall off me even more and a new world will open. I don't know. All I know is that next week or in a week or two, because I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this, you will see a changed man. How? I don't know. But you have to tune in a week or two on the Dutch Pagan channel. How's that for a plug? Ga met de goden. Go with the gods. And this changed man will see you in a week or two.